In fact, as I told you recently, I went back and reread White Noise, and I think there were probably people who read that novel, not necessarily get into White Noise and want to stay with your new novel, but there were probably people who read that novel who thought that there actually is a symptomatic deja vu that comes about from inhaling certain atmospheric toxins or something along those lines.
I couldn't tell you where that idea came from. The idea of being infected by some sort of toxic material in the air and then beginning to be very aware of a sense of deja vu that happens to a number of characters in the book. Do we know what deja vu is? Do we know what causes it? Does it have something to do with the nature of time?
I don't know, but I feel like I've had this conversation before. Oh, sorry. Bad joke. I don't know what it has to do with. Maybe something neurological, or who knows, right?
Time is a great mystery to most people, including philosophers, cosmologists, and others. And in my last novel, The Body Artist, I tried to explore time to some degree in my own amateurish way through a particular character named Mr. Tuttle, who seems to exist on a plane of time different from yours and mine. And it occurs to me, and I think it has occurred to physicists who work in this particular area, that it may well be that time exists past, present, and future simultaneously, and that it is simply a question of our, for the sake of our self-protection, of completely reformulating the nature of time in order to be able to survive. That is, the character in this book, Mr. Tuttle, seems able to move into the future and the past against his will, and it causes him, among other things, to speak as a child would speak, a disturbed child, in fact. And this was an attempt, among other attempts in this novel, to try to see time in a completely different way.
Had you read, by any chance, Martin Amis's Time Zero?
I did some time ago.
Any influence that
I
would
don't
be
think
acknowledged?
so. No. But we started this part of our conversation with deja vu. I mean, is it possible that the experience of deja vu is somehow connected with the idea that time exists in one continuum, and that it is just a question of our gaining access to it? Is it possible to gain access to the future? Does deja vu suggest that we are able to do this, that there is some kind of leakage from the future into our current sense of perception?
What does your novelist's intuition tell you? Are we experiencing some kind of simultaneity of time, do you think?
I think there's much on this subject we simply haven't been able to understand, and it's the way in which we construct our own universe, the way that the universe itself is totally different, we are told, from our perceptions of it. We create the universe in a way. We create everything that's around us, and I don't know that anyone can attempt to discuss this in any great accurate detail, but it seems to be a fact.
That we create the universe?
If we could use the word fact. Not that it doesn't exist, but that it exists in a way that may be totally alien to the ability of humans to survive in it.
Can you connect this to Eric Packer and his belief that when he dies, the world doesn't exist anymore?
I hadn't thought of that, but you may be onto something.
No,
I can write a sequel and dedicate it to you.
Thank you. I would appreciate that. This book is dedicated to Paul Auster. Why? And
I
know you're
pals.
friends. Yeah.
Yes, we're all pals. We talk about sports and movies, and we're just buddies. That's all.
Talking, if you've just joined us again, with Don DeLillo. His new book is Cosmopolis, and I like this cover. You do too, I think, don't you?
It's a very handsome cover. It shows the front of a wide-stretched limo and the back cover shows the rear of the limo, and it's quite an elegant, mostly white cover, and kind of minimalist.
You were minimalist as in
Except
Alice
for,
Katz, maybe?
Except for the raised type.
Yeah. You were thinking a lot about global capitalism, obviously, when you wrote this, and the Seattle riots weren't far from your mind, I imagine.
At the center of the book is an anti-globalist protest in Times Square, and Eric's chief of theory, Via Kinski, discusses the matter with Eric as protesters are rocking the car, hammering it with sand-filled soda bottles, kicking it and urinating on it. And their discussion takes place in a rather esoteric way about the nature of the future. That these people, says Kinski, are protesting against the future, against the way in which the inventive genius of the technological mind is going to leave most people in the world far behind once the future is realized, if it in fact can be realized. And at some level, this, I believe, is what people in such situations are protesting. The fact that we don't see or pretend not to see the suffering that our great technological advances may cause in the world in 5, 10, 20 years.
Kinski has nothing to do with Natasha Kinski, does it?
No relation.
In fact, I remember once I asked, you get asked about names in books because I remember Saul Bellow once got very angry at the idea that you should try to find meaning in the name of a character or that it has any kind of relation to the author's unconscious or anything along those lines.
Well, I agree with him. I've never had reason to get angry over it, but I would certainly not do that intentionally.